So, Paul, you just improvised that, didn't you?
Yes, yeah.
We're going to talk a little bit about, using chords, musical chords, patterns of notes to create paths in a way, pathways.
Okay, yeah.
And also to explore harmonies that you wouldn't do normally, and also to explore ourselves, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. To begin the instrument sort of with a bit of a blank slate, trying to reconnect with it all the time.
So if you did like a very simple chord on the piano, just a chord itself.
Yeah, let's just play an F chord.
So a normal pattern for an F to another chord would be...
Yeah, so you might have a that to the 6.
Okay.
And then maybe to the 5, and then 1 would be one option, 1, 6. Could even have a 4, 5. That's a beautiful.
It's very nice.
It's
very, very stately, but we know where we're going on that, don't we?
We do, yeah.
Yeah. So if you were to think, I'm not going to walk that path that I usually do.
Okay,
I'm going to be a pilgrim. I'm going to create my own path and find a shrine.
Yeah.
So, but you could start the same place.
Yes.
But then you could go somewhere else with that. So you start with the F chord.
You start with the F chord, yeah. So then I did go to the D minor. But you could go to the D minor, but not the same way. So you might be able to go somewhere that is different. So that's a little bit different. But you might go, or you might go. So there's all these different ways. And it could be more avant-garde. Landing at the D minor.
Yeah, you're still resolving there, aren't you? So
yeah.
I guess the path of each one that you're going from the F, was it?
Yeah, from the F, so
from
the F
to the D minor.
To the D minor.
The path you're creating in between those two chords varies. So I guess it's a bit like the pilgrim's path, the path that you're creating. There will thing happen on that pathway that you're not fully in control of, in a sense. But then you've got an idea of where you're going, so you're creating it as you get from one place to the other.
Yes, absolutely.
And and you do that. You improvise a lot in music. So when you're improvising music, say for that little section there.
Yeah.
Are you yourself inside going on a journey, in a sense, you're forging a way, you're co-creating?
Yeah, I think. I suppose that recently there's these kind of there's this guy called Donald Hoffman, who's this physicist mathematician, and he says he's been at the Hydra Collider, and he says when you look at these smallest known particles that they've bashed together, quarks and gluons and all that. I don't know these things. I'm not a physicist, but he says there is no time or space. Mm-hmm. So if there is no time or space, that means the way that we view reality is different. So this might be a long way of saying that. Just there is no time, if you like, when I play.
Okay.
In the sense of clock time, I'm just acting on the sound, and you may feel that there's something visually happening, in here that's not seen out there, but it's just the reaction of one sound to another, and it can only be done, like Blake says, we sink into eternity in the sort of moment.
But do you afterwards, now when you're thinking about it? Is the journey more clear, perhaps?
Initially it is, but I think once I listen my improvisations back after a little bit of time, it doesn't sound like me, and I don't know how I did it.
Right.
So
it's you there, you're playing.
Yeah.
But it's this connecting from one, which chord.
Yes.
The F to
the other chord. Yeah. In this example. Yeah.
In this example, but those intertwining steps.
Yes.
You're saying you don't fully know how you get from there to the other.
No.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you can use tricks, but generally I'm just listening, I'm voice leading.
Is it like a pulse as well?
Yeah, there's a pulse going on there. There's also this kind of idea of not thinking of harmony like this. chord, but this more of this kind of thought. Can I move? Well, like now I'm just playing an F chord. If I just ask Eddie to point to notes around F.
Okay.
So you go for it, yeah. Keep pointing. So that was amazing, wasn't it? Like, there was like having...
It's a very strange, slightly uncomfy.
Yeah.
Well, a little bit, wasn't it?
Yeah.
To do things like that. So,
but if you think about that, if we have a fundamental note, going back to Pythagoras, if we have a fundamental note, I'm just holding down the notes of C and G, and if I ask Eddie to give that C a really good bash for me, let go of it, they're the overtones of that note.
I see, right, okay.
So, so there's a long way, and just a simple point of saying, everything comes from a note, doesn't it? So who's to say if I go like this? It does cadence, doesn't it? It's a bit...
It does a bit, yeah.
It's a bit sort of,
Sort of angry tune.
Yeah. But I think sometimes our education system restricts us by telling us these kind of movements.
Well, that's what I mean. So that can happen in music, can't you? You can be restricted within the music. I mean, there are certain restrictions that are good as well. That
absolutely.
Like poetry, for instance. You have particular styles of poetry, and you write within that, and that opens up different ways of seeing things, because restrictions can sometimes, embellish and make you think very differently, creative in. But there's just a standard way of this music. The chords are going from one to etc. So if you break out and you just entwine the notes between, but obviously skill and dedication and work is behind all this.
Yes, of course, yeah.
But still, you need freedom within that, don't you? So
yeah.
Is there a going wrong, or is there something that can, there's moments where I guess it feels, like I said, uncomfy.
Yes,
the moments where I feel uncomfortable.
Yes,
You can sort of resolve that in a way, can't you?
That's right. I mean, what we're interested in the last one, it was like that was a work of two people. So you were like, I was just following your lead, and that you were probably taking me places that I maybe wouldn't have gone.
Yeah.
And we created so much tension. But then there was some voice leading in the middle. By voice leading, I mean these kind of stepwise movements. And I just think it's really interesting to do that at the piano. Like you just did, like you led me that way. And some of it does feel very uncomfortable, doesn't it? Like some of that harmony we found there. And we were breaking out of traditional tonal harmony.
But I guess the uncomfortable feel is something that you're not used to as well in some ways.
Yeah.
So that is so sometimes that actually, if you explored that more, it wouldn't be as uncomfortable.
That's right. Yeah.
Your ears and
your ears would be used to it.
Would adapt. Yeah. So you would start to think, I love that sound. I recognise that sound, like a pathway. I don't know where I'm going, and then you do a few pathways through this wood, and after a while you get to recognise 1 or 2 trees, and I've got an idea, and that leads down to that river, that sort of thing. So in the case of music, the more you explore the landscape of it in a different way, the more you will perceive, see, and experience, and get used to.
That's right, and be familiar with it. Yeah, and if I played something that's kind of a little bit more abstract, maybe. Again, that's more, and you see, I don't find that offensive at all, but some people listen like, oh my gosh.
No, but there are things within that. I know, and I also recognise, because I listen to a lot of your music, there's little patterns that you adopt in your music, and they came into that as well.
Yeah, that's right.
So you still have that part of you, that harmonised bit of you in a sense. Yeah,
that's right. The dichotomy of this dichotomy of like tension and release.
Yeah.
Like there were some sweet sounds in there, but offset with like we're going back to the tradition of Schoenberg and atonality, the idea of building a 12-note tone row. I would recommend to people, it's lovely to just think about one scale in one hand, but another scale in another.
Oh, sure,
and explore. So we could have F major in this hand maybe, but then we could have D major in this hand. So I'm only allowed to use F in this hand and D in this hand. Okay. So just the D, but F in this hand. That's fun to try. The polytonality, we call it traditionally.
That's fascinating. But that you see, within that, but you're giving yourself restrictions in that, i.e.
within that.
Those two different scales.
Yeah.
That's what we were talking about the poetry earlier, about, the style.
Yes, yeah.
But you bring them together and then you're creating something new out of that as well. Yeah. So funnily enough, actually the improvisation can be... limited a slight bit as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really good. You can think that we both love Tolkien, don't we? You could see that Tolkien is some of the things he's read, but then he kind of stood on those shoulders and created something completely original in that sense. So
shoulders of an end.
Yeah, not a hobbit.
No, it'd be very high, that one.
Oh, great, Eddie. Thanks for asking me those kind of questions.
Cool.
Yeah, thanks.